Do you guys remember the Yellowstone spinoff series Four Sixes? Yes, I'm talking about the show that was announced back in 2021 and was meant to follow the storyline of Jimmy as he navigates the challenges of his life at the famous Texan ranch, the Four Sixes. But as you can probably tell, it has been a while since we heard from this show. So why are we talking about it now? Yellowstone is the king of TV right now, but this kingdom comparison is a lot more spot on than I first thought. With its spin-offs, Yellowstone has established what can only be described as a digital feudal system. I guess you guys weren't expecting me to make medieval comparisons in a Western, huh? With our king Kevin Costner now gone as monarch? Our eyes have been glued to the Yellowstone spin-offs as the top slot is now open and the throne is looking for the rightful heir. One contender that has been in development for a while now is the Four Sixes. Jimmy and John had this mentor-manatee relationship throughout the show. And now, with John Dutton gone, Jimmy has to honor his legacy and carry the lessons that were taught to him. He certainly has a lot on his plate and a lot more to learn to make John proud. This is a good start-off point for the Four Sixes, as we'll have the opportunity to see Jimmy transform into something more and hopefully something better. Seeing him in Texas doing his own thing with his show on the way is like seeing your child go to their first day of school. I am personally feeling all that parental love and pride that John surely would have felt if he wasn't, gone. So it is exciting and endearing to see Jimmy stand on his feet and become his own person. There's a long road ahead though, so it'll be a journey for sure. Four Sixes was an esteemed ranch that the Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan actually bought back in 2021 for this show. So even though the spinoff has been silent on the development front, it is fair to say that such an investment was not made so it could be featured in a couple episodes. Whatever Sheridan is cooking, it is big enough to justify this purchase. And the only thing that can possibly justify such a purchase is a standalone show. So we might not know when the show is coming, but it is fair to assume that it will be here. I also want to emphasize the fact that Sheridan didn't buy a random ranch in Texas. He bought the original Four Sixes. Seeing things unfold in the actual place will be exciting to see for sure. Not only that, but a lot of the storylines of Four Sixes will be familiar to Yellowstone audiences, as there has been enough setup to build a solid foundation for the spinoff. With massive layoffs at the Yellowstone Ranch, we may see a few familiar faces, and even Yellowstone alumni like Beth, Rip, and Teeter come to this show. After Colby's death, I don't think Teeter will be comfortable working at the Yellowstone Ranch, and Four Sixes is a pretty good option for her. She needs to move on, right? That being said, I believe Jimmy is the character that is most likely to lead. We should see a type of origin story to the ranch as it becomes the legendary monument it is today. There's a lot of room for flashbacks as well, considering that a significant part of the audience won't be familiar with the other shows. To look at a different example, even the MCU at its peak had people confused about the interconnected references in its films. That means that some actors might reprise their roles to provide much needed context. Do you guys think we'll get to see Kevin Costner as John Dutton again? I mean, considering the beef between Costner and Sheridan, I think it's pretty unlikely. Plus, the way Sheridan chose to kill John Dutton wasn't fair at all. That's why I don't expect Costner to show up even through flashbacks. But a girl can dream. Who else do you think might show up? Let's hear your thoughts. What storylines do you expect to see from the Four Sixes? Do you think it will have the necessary quality to stand on its own? Or will it be stuck as the Yellowstone show that isn't Yellowstone? Personally, with other spin-offs like 1923 and The Madison, it is safe to say that Four Sixes will be alright, but it has been radio silent for a long time. So I do understand the skepticism that a lot of us share. But the Yellowstone Kingdom is riding high at this moment. It is unlikely that Four Sixes will fail. Even if it does, the larger narrative won't suffer much. Sheridan does have a deal with Paramount that includes 6 Yellowstone shows, and what do we have at this moment? Do you think the creators will just go wild and release a Yellowstone-like Western that takes place in the future? No? I am the only one? Come on, how cool does that sound? With a single season remaining on the slate for 1923's second and final season, and as the end of Yellowstone is closer than it has ever been, Sheridan will definitely have more time to focus on 4/6s. I'd say it is time we entered the modern era, and 4/6s might be our opportunity to do so. We are fine, believe me. Honestly, I expect some good news in the first quarter of 2025, and who knows, maybe we can get to watch it in late 2025. But if you disagree and think that the 4/6s doesn't have much hope, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear different perspectives. But while I wait for you guys to respond, if you'll excuse me, I will be working on my Robot Ranch pitch for Taylor Sheridan. Don't forget to drop a follow to learn about the latest updates on the 4/6s and everything else Yellowstone related. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.